I'm going to share with you how I improved my art in a year, what steps I took, and what mistakes I made, because there were a lot. And if I could do this all over again, how I would teach myself to draw in 2024 and beyond. So let me break this video down into one simple sentence. Unlearn to learn, unify to simplify. Now, this is a tip I wish I knew when I first started drawing. And the tip is actually hidden in this sentence. Now, I'm sure you're asking, what does this sentence have to do with drawing? All right, let me explain. We're about to get on in, so buckle up. When I first began to draw, it was because I was inspired. I would watch my favorite animes. I would read my favorite mangas. I would watch artists create these incredible, elaborate pieces. And I was amazed. But when I picked up my pencil, I felt overwhelmed. I was frustrated because my art was horrible. Now, I'm not looking for sympathy, but it was frustrating because I knew what a face looked like. I've seen faces since the day I was born. I know what figures look like. I have a body. But what I didn't realize then that I realize now is that our minds are incredible instruments. And what they do incredibly well is that they're able to streamline and simplify everyday tasks and turn the things we see every day into symbols. And therein lies the problem. Which brings me back to the sentence you read at the start. I doubt, and maybe you did, but I doubt you read every single letter. I doubt you sounded out every single letter of every single word. In fact, I would even bet that you may not even read the whole word. And because our minds are really good at sneakily streamlining everyday tasks, you may have missed the mistakes in the sentence. So, in order to learn to draw, we have to stop letting our minds see the world unconsciously. And we have to start developing an artist's eye. And what that means is we have to stop seeing and we have to start finally looking at every inch, looking at every detail. We have to unlearn the symbols that our mind creates, like the symbol of an eye, and start finally seeing the skin, the wrinkles in the skin, the subtle curves of an eye, the creases. And so by unlearning these unconscious, streamlined processes that our mind uses, we begin to finally focus on seeing what it really means to be an artist and becoming the artist that we always wanted to be. Now, no one started drawing because they wanted to draw squares. I didn't look at Naruto or Bleach or Attack on Titan and think, oh man, how great would it be to learn fundamentals? The incredible animes or mangas that I've read and watched took my breath away, which made me want to pick up a pencil. And so I wanted to draw the characters that I saw. I want to make my own animations. And so when I first started to draw, all I wanted to draw were the characters. I want to draw Naruto. I want to draw Sasuke. I want to draw Kakashi. But the problem is, all I saw was all the other artists' finished work. But I didn't realize that the fundamentals is where everyone starts. Now, here's the thing. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like learning the fundamentals. I never liked learning the fundamentals. Drawing circles and squares and triangles is not fun for me. Trying to see circles, squares, and triangles is not fun to me. I'm saying all that to say this. the fundamentals are never really all that fun. But the outcome of understanding the basics is what's transformed my art. Now, you're probably gonna ask, okay, where do I need to start? I'm gonna make a bold statement, and that is, there's a lot of great art teachers out there. Thousands. There's a lot of great websites out there. Thousands. There's a lot of great books you can find. Thousands. There's even some great Reddit posts that can help teach you art. But here's my bold statement. Find one artist that begins a course or some kind of structured learning that gets you from 0 to 1. Just one. A couple months back, I talked to my sister about her weight loss journey and getting into the gym and having a trainer. And she told me something that her trainer told her, and she told me, and I thought it was profound. She says the goal of a trainer, a personal trainer, is to get the student to the point where they can take over their own training. And so whatever artist you choose, the goal of that artist is to get you past the fundamentals, is to get you past the point where you're lost. Because it's once you get past level 1 that you finally get to do the open world. Now, once we get past level 1 and we get to the open world, now we get to learn from all the artists. And what I mean by that is every artist has a unique way of approaching art. Sam does art, draws and paints differently than Loish. Loish draws and paints differently than Likelihood Art. Likelihood Art draws and paints differently than Mark Brunette. All these artists have different styles and approaches to how they approach art. And this is the awesome part about getting past the fundamentals. You never pass the fundamentals. However, this is the part where you understand enough of the fundamentals that they don't hold you back from learning from other artists. Because now I can watch Sam does art and I can take pieces from him, how he approaches lines, how he approaches shapes, how he approaches structure and anatomy. I can look at Loish and look at how she approaches anatomy, lines, and structure. I can look at all these different artists and now I can piece together, what is it that I like over here? What is it that I like over there? One of my favorite books is Still Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. And to become a better artist, you have to borrow or steal their approach, their styles. And the more you steal from other artists, the more your style becomes unique to you. You become a collage of all these different artworks. You become a collage of all these different approaches to drawing and painting. You become a collage of all the things that inspire you, the animes, the mangas, the comic books, the movies. You become a sort of Frankenstein version of your favorite art pieces, all built into one hand, yours. In 2024, I think you can learn to draw. It's not going to be easy. It is going to be difficult. But in my opinion, it will be worth it. I'll see you in the next video.